Hi, everyone. Welcome to my kitchen, but welcome to a very special edition of Up Late. Possibly, definitely our most ambitious to date. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land I'm on, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and pay my respects to their elders past, present, and emerging. And yes, this is my kitchen. Tonight we have a culinary experience for you of the highest order on the show, as I will soon welcome the true gourmets of the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra. He's an aesthete, a style icon, a polymath, a Renaissance man, an autodidact. And I don't think I'm over-egging it when I say he's an influencer, violinist Roger Young, and we will get to him in a minute. I'll be doing my best to ask Roger a few questions about his musical life format tonight, let's face it, while he attempts the impossible, teaching me to prepare his special epic XO prawns recipe live on the internet to a potential audience of 6 billion people. So I've got all the ingredients here ready to go, including Roger's own special homemade XO sauce, which I was able to pick up from him, and chili oil as well. I'm surrounded by utensils and seriously. A special thank you to Tarrawarra Wines for their support of Up Late with Ben Northey, and a reminder for those, you can participate in the discussion by posting your questions for Roger or myself in the chat window anytime during the interview. I've got a little laptop down here. I'll try and get to those as we go through as well. It's more of a cooking show than an interview show tonight, let's face it. And also a big thank you to production company CVP and all of the production staff at MSO for sending Roger and I the AV gear. This is seriously a television studio right here in the kitchen. Roger's got the same thing, big camera and lights, and got a microphone clipped on here, all of the stuff we need to bring this much anticipated event to you. I just feel very pro level tonight, that's for sure. And as big as a highlight as this is, it's not the biggest highlight of today, because the MSO had an actual rehearsal today in at Hamer Hall, our first one for 14 weeks. And it was just amazing for everybody. Roger was there tonight at that rehearsal as well. We can hear about his thoughts about that later on. And next week, we're going to be recording a film score by Nigel Westlake for the upcoming adaptation of the Tim Winton book, Blueback, an absolutely beautiful film score to record next week. You know, the big stars in that movie, Radha Mitchell, Eric Bana is in that. It's an iconic Australian story with a timely message about the fragility of the world's oceans. And what better lead in to tonight's show as we continue that seafood theme. Oh, I'm sorry. Look, they're prawns. Trust me, it'll be worth it, people. My guest tonight was born in Auckland and raised in Brisbane. As well as an outstanding violinist and arranger, he's no doubt one of the finest foodies. He's the finest foodie in our band. He's even got his own excellent food and music themed show online on YouTube, which is worth checking out, including some of the things that we're going to be eating tonight. He's always eating or drinking something delicious. And it's my great pleasure to welcome to tonight's show, Roger Young. Welcome, Roger.
Thank you, Ben. It's wonderful to be here. Nice to be in your kitchen and have you here. Hello to everyone watching.
Should I refer to you as chef for the next hour? Is that how it should work?
I think that would make me feel a little bit underqualified if you did that.
I'll just say yes, chef, every now and again. How did you pull up after the rehearsal today? I was exhausted. We didn't play for that long, but it felt like it was just draining and amazing and thrilling. Yeah, big play. How were you?
It was fantastic. Just listening to the solos, you know, coming through the orchestra and sitting next to your friends and colleagues playing, you know, it's pretty amazing. It's a fairly special experience to be back on stage, and difficult actually. I mean, surprisingly, I mean, you know, you don't forget how to play and be an orchestral musician, but these skills need to be honed all the time, and good to get back into it.
Well, I don't know when the last time you would have had a 14-week break from playing. I think everyone's in the same boat. That's probably the longest we've gone without playing for ages. But before we get into some questions about your musical life, tell us, what are we going to be cooking tonight?
Okay, so I've chosen exo prawns. And so we've got these lovely king prawns. And so to do that, I made some exo sauce, which you've got. I delivered to you on the street, like a little.
Got that.
And this is a wonderful exo sauce. This is actually a Neil Perry recipe from his book, Balance and Harmony. And I've made a few. There's so many good recipes. Adam Lau has a really great recipe too. He puts a few other things in it. And then, so we're going to stuff the prawns. We're going to stuff the prawns, and we're going to show you how to, cut them and get off all the spiky bits. And then we're going to have it with a really fun cucumber salad. So the humble cucumber, and we're going to smash it, and that's always fun. Love doing that. So it's basically exo prawns and with a cucumber salad. And so the chili oil that I made, and you've also got, goes into part of the dressing for the cucumber salad.
Right. Okay. I'm staying with you so far. I'm looking forward to smashing those cucumbers.
That's going to be fun. And then, of course, at the end, a little bit of mango on top because, they have a lot of these in Queensland. I haven't been there for a while. And a lovely sweetness. And because for the crunch element, and this is a new thing for me, actually, I never, you don't deep fry a lot at home, do you? Because it's all this oil and it's smelly and...
Oh, not with kids. Let me tell you, it's a night that would end in tears for sure.
Yeah. Let the professionals do it. But having said that, we've got some beautiful wonton skins, which we both deep fried earlier. And
mine look a bit darker than yours.
Okay. Yeah,
I've taken them right to the edge. They are
so
delicious.
all of that.
Yep, I've got all of that. That's fantastic. And I know this show is going to be a bit of a balancing act. I have no idea how this is going to work, Roger, to be honest. I mean,
I've got my watch on. We can try and get the prawns on at a certain time, and
yeah. Well, let's just start though with a little bit of your musical background. You mentioned Brisbane. You came over from Auckland when you were a little kid. That must have been so it must have been a great place growing up in Brisbane. They've got such a wonderful music program, but your family's very musical. Tell us about those members of your family.
Yeah, well, we came to Brisbane. Dad actually got a job with the Queensland Opera and Ballet, and he's a conductor. So so we moved to Brisbane for that reason. And my memories of, and I was 4 or 5 years old, and I remember being dragged along to the opera at that really young age, and Mum would always sort of say, you've got to have a sleep before we go, and he's even a matinee, you're gonna have to sleep. So I try and have to sleep. You can't sleep when you're told you have to sleep, and then we go to the opera or the ballet, and I'd fall asleep, and I'd wake up, and I have this memory, I don't know why, but of this big silhouette of Dad against the just the way it caught the light on the side of the auditorium, wow. Conducting away. So yeah, it was a very musical family, and lots of opera blaring on Saturday and Sunday mornings. Which,
and your mum also is a fabulous musician, professional musician.
Fantastic clarinetist, and she used to play in the orchestra, and she'd work professionally alongside, she was a school teacher, taught grade 1 and grade 2. Yeah. So it makes it easy coming from a musical family in that sense. Some things come more easily.
Yeah, I find it fabulous that you are such a, like I said earlier, polymath, and also that you're somebody who's taught yourself basically how to cook. And you've taken it to an extreme level. You mentioned some of the time you've spent in lockdown watching cooking videos. I might ask you which ones you're actually watching later on. But we should also just talk about some of the other members of your family, because Craig, who is probably watching, hello to you, Craig, up in Brisbane, member of the QSO, wonderful cellist. And you've both been on MasterChef. Like, this is the league that I'm trying to come to terms with here. Actually cooking with a MasterChef contestant. And you both did pretty well, didn't you?
Yeah, I guess so. Craig did a little bit better, I do have to say.
Is that a sore point?
Well, not really. I mean, look, let's be honest. I did teach him everything he knows, and he ran very well with it, with those skills. So, you know, it's look, you know, I don't find there's any sibling rivalry, and I certainly say, oh, no, you know, no rivalry between Craig and I. But I can hear Craig saying, yeah, of course there's no rivalry. I'm just better than you.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's not even a debate. I love it.
Yeah. So look, we have a great time over Christmas. I remember once we did a turducken, which we'd never done before. You know, the turkey stuffed inside a duck and a chicken and wrapped it all up, and it was a big, gigantic mess. Very delicious, but boy, that took a while to do.
Vegetarian's nightmare.
I'm sure we had a vegetarian stuffing.
All right. Well, look, I know we will touch on your secondary schooling and the amazing time with Queensland Youth Orchestras. Most people have been through, who have come through the music program, but let's get cracking on some food. What's the first thing we should prepare?
Well, shall we smash a cucumber?
I'd love to.
Why don't we do that?
Let's do it.
Now, let's get the ends off.
Yep.
So chop both those ends up. Now, actually, Ben, this is, you know, just let's chop another little sliver.
Gee, you've got a nice little, that's a knife, isn't it? Like this is Crocodile Dundee territory.
This is scary, and I have to be very careful using it. And I do everything very slowly when I use this knife.
Yeah, I bet.
Because it's too sharp.
So what do we do with this cucumber?
Well, look, okay. And look, this is just because it's delicious, and the versatility of a good exo sauce. Exo sauce goes with almost everything. And, you know, look, I love to put a little bit on the cucumber. And there you go. You've got a little hors d'oeuvre.
Hors d'oeuvre.
Totally delicious.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
A little bit of spice.
That exo sauce, and we're going to learn how to make that later because you made a video which we're going to play during the show. Oh,
so it's funny with that exo sauce. When I first made it many years ago, I had a friend of mine come over and I made him a jar. And we tried it on everything in my kitchen because it's so good. But how does it go with cucumber? How does it go with carrot? How does it go with bread? Cream cheese and bread. I mean, it goes with everything. So, yeah,
okay,
it's mouth-watering, isn't it?
Oh man.
So look, I've got a big cleaver.
You do.
So let's just. So I'm just going to give it some wax.
Okay, I'll try the same thing carefully here. Wow.
There you go. 2 wax did it for me.
You know what? Now. I'm not gonna use a knife for that. Should I use another chopping board maybe?
Yeah,
or
that's
something?
a great idea.
Would that work? All right. Oh God.
It's good.
I think the cucumber went over my pantry door.
I know, and that's why I take the ends off.
Sorry, Joe. Sorry.
It's good. It's good to film it when you've got the ends off because then it splatters.
This is like an episode of Squid Game in here. All of a sudden, it's like. Okay, so what do we do? This is successfully smashed. Trust me.
Now look, if you've done well, it should just break into 4 bits. Okay, so
it does. It does. They're very smashed. They're very smashed.
Now, what I do like to do is just get rid of the seeds. They're very watery and tasteless, and they don't aid in any way, I don't think.
Most of mine went over the pantry, actually.
Have you got a dog, a little puppy?
This is going well. No, we've got guinea pigs, though. I don't know if they're allowed to eat cucumber seeds. There's all kinds of restrictions on, like they can't eat capsicum seeds. They're poisonous to them. You've got to be really careful. So I won't be chucking those in just yet. All right.
Okay. So now we've done that. That's really quite simple. Let's just slice them.
Yep.
I just slice them into bite size on an angle if you like. If you want to be fancy, you can do whatever you want.
Oh yeah, just little pieces like that, sort of bite size.
Bite size.
Yep.
And you know, you can do as many or as little as you want. You can smash another cucumber if you really want, Ben.
I probably will, because Joe's going to want some of this later on. My wife Joanne, who's refusing to come on camera until the hairdresser's open again.
No. Yeah, I know.
I blame her, really. All right, into a bowl with that.
Into a bowl, and that's done. Okay.
All right.
Now, what we could do. Let's let's prepare the prawns. Okay.
Yep.
I'll just wash my hands. So this is actually, you know, I've done my 10,000 hours of cooking show watching, definitely.
Right. Yes.
Certainly throughout lockdown. This one I came, Dealey Smith, just did a great pictorial demonstration on how to prepare these prawns for for any kind of stuffing sort of dish.
Yep.
It's very simple, but it works really well. It's practical, and it means that you don't sort of cut yourself and you know, there's nothing worse than a scratch from the spike.
I'll give it a go. Don't worry about that. I will give it a go. I will.
Scratched by a cat. It never really feels like it heals.
Yeah, right. This is getting so messy here already. All I've done is cucumber, and I'm about to do prawns.
I think we're pretty tidy now. So now what I will do.
All right. That one is done. That one's done. This one was the one. Okay, so what do we do? I've got my scissors.
You got scissors? So let's start by cutting off the little sharp pointy bit on the top of its head.
On the top?
Yep.
So like behind the eye kind of deal?
Yeah, you just sort of shoot up like that and yeah.
Yep.
And then
underneath,
now these all have names. I can't remember what they are, these little bits. But let's chop off all the bits underneath the head. All the...
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Let's just get rid of them.
Yep.
And we can leave the legs on. That's all fine.
Legs on. Yep.
Just cleaning up the head. And the last thing, there's a spiky bit at the tail end.
Oh, yeah.
Which I like to sort of, which is great to snip that off because that really hurts if it digs into you.
You just snip off the top. You don't snip off the whole tail, just that spiky bit?
Just the top. Yeah.
Yep.
Because, you know, you'll be really using your fingers to get into this dish. So it's good to sort of just prepare them like this.
Sure.
Then we quite simply just cut down the backbone from the head end.
From the head, yeah.
With your scissors.
Wow. I just don't know how we got to this moment, Roger. I don't understand how we're actually doing this on an internet show right now. I'm having an out-of-body experience, much like this prawn probably is. Yeah.
Well, you know, we've certainly been doing a lot of home cooking, haven't we? I mean, we've had no choice. And learning new skills and new cooking skills and doing things I've got friends on Facebook who post an extravagant, incredibly fancy meal every night, and
yeah, right.
You know, it's pretty impressive and it's quite inspiring.
Wow.
Now let's take out all the gunk in the middle.
I'm just doing that now. Yep.
Good.
You've got to be careful with these prawns. There's some real sharp bits even still. I probably haven't taken them off as successfully as your instructions led me to try and do, but I think that's looking pretty good actually. And I did prepare the other ones already, thank God. Yeah.
So you're practiced.
Well, actually, Joe did.
Okay.
I said, she's so great. You know, we had the rehearsal today and she got a lot of this stuff ready. And I was very grateful. I came back, she was doing the prawns. I said, are you doing the prawns? And she said, yes. I said, you should say yes, chef. And she actually threw a prawn at me. I had to go and change my shirt. But anyway, she's very nice. Highly recommend her. All right. That's good.
Now, what we may do is, so once you've done that, grab a knife and then just finish. So butterfly. So essentially cut through the back, through the body, just gently. You want to cut, you know, through the flesh, certainly not through the belly. And then open it out. And then and that's kind of prawns prepared, and you'll see you've got.
Do you cut through the head as well?
No.
Okay.
So I'm just sort of cutting just through
just
the
so
body.
You can put stuff in it.
Just so you
later.
can Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I still need to get some stuff out of that. Oh, well. Just got to grab some kitchen paper here. Oh, right. This is sacrilegious, I think. I'm going to have to give that a wash as well. What a mess. God, it's so hard, Roger. I know this is easy for you, but this is tough. Okay. That's looking acceptable. Wouldn't say it's restaurant quality, but it's getting there. Okay. You know what, Roger? Have we got time to just talk a little bit about your transition from school musician to professional?
Sure.
How did that happen? Like, when did you go pro? I know you're in Queensland Youth Orchestra with the wonderful John Curro, etc. You must have done that right the way through, right? From beginner.
Yeah,
to
I did.
top band.
So I studied at the Queensland Conservatorium of Music in Brisbane, and I was lucky because at the end of my final year, Anthony Camden was the director at that time, and he had a lot of contacts in London. So he was organising exchanges for us to go over there. And I have a feeling a lot more of us went over there than to the Royal Academy of Music I'm talking about. So then I went to the Academy for a year. And I had a great time, and actually, even took maybe, a couple of jazz violin lessons, just because it was of interest to me back then. And then I came back to Brisbane, and I'm just remembering this now, and enrolled in the jazz course at the Conservatorium.
Wow.
So I enrolled in that, and I think
as a violinist.
Yeah. I remember having a few jazz piano lessons. And so I enrolled in that. And then, of course, an audition came up in the Queensland Philharmonic Orchestra. So after about 3 months or so, and I auditioned for that and got that job. And then, so I was in QPO for, I did 3 years in QPO before getting the job with the Melbourne Symphony.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So, that explains your versatility as a musician too, because a lot of people may not know about you. You've done so much arranging work, and you've actually done a lot of arranging for groups made up of musicians from the MSO, haven't you? The Secret Symphony stuff, and your own cooking show features a lot of these arrangements.
That's right. It's I love arranging. Dad, it's strange. Dad is actually a very good arranger, orchestrator. And so there's something that runs in the family. Craig, my brother, of course, does a lot, symphonic arranging, all sorts of things. But yeah, the Secret Symphony, I mean, look, it is still such a good series. Obviously, we aren't doing it at the moment. And the very first one we did was with Bramwell Tovey in the Paris Cat. And from then we did many. We did a James Bond one, we did a Radiohead one, David Bowie one, and these all needed arrangements. So the MSO, were great. They just said, Rog, just arrange away. What do you need? And it's so nice, to sort of be given that opportunity, and then you sort of take it a bit further, and you can use those skills.
Oh, I love that. I love those. I've missed those Secret Symphony concerts. They were so great.
It was literally a month, and I can't tell you what it is in case we do it. But we had a brilliant one planned just before COVID. It was going to be, and hopefully it will still happen. We'll see. But
exactly.
All
right. I will get back to music, I promise you. But for now, the next step in our culinary masterpiece.
Let's get these prawns stuffed. So now make sure you get the XO sauce, not the chili, and just sort of start just filling in the, use as much or as little as you want. I'm generally quite generous with how much I put in.
Are you just putting them on the chopping board to do this, and then into a pan?
I actually put it in. I'm using this. This will go straight in the pan. Yeah. So I've got 3 in here, and I'm just sort of.
Okay. All right. The XO sauce goes in there. Yeah.
Sauce goes in.
So pretty generous on this. Why not? So
exactly. I mean, this is the thing. XO sauce is it's an extravagant sauce, and it's full of dried scallops and tiny shrimp and garlic and ginger and chili. And it's kind of, well, relatively fancy and expensive if you're going to be making a lot of it. So you're kind of, I guess it's like if you're having truffles on your pasta, you want more than just one shaving.
Yeah, go for it. A question's come in on the chat in YouTube, and thank you for those questions. Keep them coming. Where do you get the best prawns in Melbourne?
Well, look, yeah, that's a tricky one to answer. I'm in St Kilda, so I go to the prawn markets.
Okay.
And there's a lot of great places there. Now the 15K radius doesn't exist, isn't it? Are we out of it? I really want to.
I think is it Thursday midnight? That's when it officially ends, I think.
Right.
Or
something like that. Well, anyway, I do want to go to, trek up to Preston because I hear the markets there, and I have been there once. Are incredible.
That's my side of town. I'm on the north, and I haven't been there for ages.
Yeah,
it's pretty epic up there, I got to say.
Yeah,
that's a real foodie's paradise. There's another question that's come in. What are the big differences between jazz and classical violin? They must be different art forms, right?
Look, they are. It's a completely different language. Obviously, you're in jazz, you're sort of improvising and you're reading chord symbols and you're feeling it in a very different way. Classical, with jazz, and look, I don't, call myself a jazz musician, but the great players, they can play on the beat, in front of the beat, behind the beat, anywhere around the beat, and it's incredible to listen to. We don't quite have that obvious, that sort of flexibility. I mean, we can, but it's a little bit more regimented in the classical world. We have other things to deal with. So look, there's a great amount of refinement in both, and
well, you seem to be able to have a good sense of style between obviously both of those things, and that's one thing that I noticed in your clip when you were making the exo sauce, because in your online clips, which are fantastic, they're so beautifully put together, you actually make your own music, and do you record those at home, just you? I mean, how do you go about putting that together?
Yeah, so it's sometimes you don't know why you start the things you do, but you start a lot of things, certainly in the last year and a half. And food and music have always been two of my passions, and it seemed a logical thing to try and somehow piece them together. So I've got my studio set up, and I just do the arranging in there on Sibelius program, and I just record all the parts. The last one, I did get some parts. Well, Rowan makes a feature on cello, and so he sent me the cello part, and John O'Caro did all these wonderful percussion parts, and then I just sort of pieced them together in the recording software, and just sort of like a jigsaw puzzle. I said, oh, that's a really great thing what you're doing there. That'll sound good with this section. And and I even borrowed a viola and played a bit of viola.
I was going to say, it actually sounds like quite a large ensemble. Roger, why don't we have a listen to that? Because I know there'll be a lot of people out there who really want to find out how to make that exo sauce. This video stays online for people, so after tonight, you'll be able to go back to it, but also you can just check out Roger's videos. There's other ones as well. What are some of the other ones that you did?
There's a duck confit for Rachmaninoff, which is my duck confit recipe. And that one's fun. That was using all the secondi who sent me from home recordings of vocalese and Rowan and on cello and Ben Hanlon on bass. Yep. And then we've got my first one. It actually was a cocktail, whiskey sour, which I did, and I did Have You Met Miss Jones? And then Beef and Bark. That was a fun one.
Genius.
That was, partita, the first partita, the last movement, kind of like a sort of Benny Goodman plays a great chart called Bart Goes to Town, and that must have been in the back of my mind Bach is so adaptable. It's incredible music. So yeah, a few different styles. Yeah.
Well, why don't we have a look and a listen at your latest video, the XO prawn recipe.
Okay.
Every now and again, you're just reminded that you're in the presence of greatness. And that's one of these moments now, Roger. That was stunning. I mean, so beautifully put together, the music, the food. I mean, this is a big career potential for you, I see, unfolding into the future. So you have to do more of these. I mean, is that something that you're going to keep going?
Look, I am. So I bought myself a camera, 4 or 5 months ago, and I thought, well, look, I'll just see how I go, and I just love it. And there are so many things you can cook. There are so many pieces of music you can arrange and play. And of course, coming out of lockdown, now I can get together with my friends and we can record something together. I've got ideas. I'd love to do something when I go back to Brisbane with Craig, do some duet and do some. And it's endless what you can do. And so you just try and, get a little bit better and better each time you do it until you feel like you're, where you can be.
Yeah, there's a few people asking about the link to the YouTube channel for the video, and that is in the chat. So you can get that link, and when we're finished, you can go and check it all out. All right, Rog, what's the next step? I've got the pan.
Let's get these in the oven.
In the oven, all right.
Yeah.
I'm going to put this on, what, fan plus 180 or something like that? Or
yeah, that'll be fine.
What, 190? All right, it's in. How long does that take?
It should only take 5 minutes, 5-6 minutes. So
Wow,
what have we got? Yeah, 22. We'll take them out. Let's make the dressing.
Yep.
Which doesn't take long at all.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, yep.
So let's get a bit of sesame oil.
All right.
So look, I'm just going to do a few glugs now. I've done it a few times. You could do a little bit more. I love, my flavour that I love at the moment is sesame and sugar together. I love those flavours. So
very healthy too, I've heard, sesame oil. Anyway, yep. What's
let's
next?
add sugar. So
Sugar,
a
yep.
teaspoon of sugar or something like that.
Yep.
Maybe a little bit more. Let's sprinkle a little bit of salt in, not too much, just a little bit. We can always add more. Now I've got some light soy. I'm just going to do a little glug of, not too much.
I'm using tamari, so
Fine.
what, just like a splash.
Yeah. And I'm going to put a little bit of dark soy just because I like the colour, but just a little bit. And a little bit of rice vinegar.
Rice wine vinegar.
Now do be careful with this.
Yep.
It can overpower. So just a small.
Okay.
Give that a bit of a stir.
All right.
And then we grab our chili oil, which I made with.
Ooh.
I made a special trip into the city. It was an outing to get these Korean peppers, red pepper powder, and it did say it was medium, but you'll find that it's very mild.
Okay.
So, and then I made a chili oil, which is sort of, oil is probably not really the right word. It's quite
Looks nice. Sesame seeds, right? Is that sesame seeds?
Yeah, it's got fried garlic. Yeah. It has actually a bit of scallop in there too. And so look, I'm going to put a big teaspoon in because I just love the flavour of this.
Yep.
And you don't need to, but just while we're here, I might just smash up a bit of garlic.
Bit of garlic, all right.
Yeah, and there's lots of garlic in cooked garlic, but let's just add a fresh note. I think is nice.
Just like one clove or something like that.
Yeah, one clove's fine. I'll just use like quite a small part of this clove. It's only making too much.
Yep. How the knife skills on this guy? Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness, Roger! It's like watching a ballet dancer. Just finely chopped, right?
Yeah, just finely chopped. And if you want to be fancy, Ben,
Yeah.
which I'm sure you do.
Always.
Yeah, you can do the old. Well, I think you meant to put a little bit of sugar on the garlic. Sorry, not sugar, bit of salt on the garlic, and do one of these, kind of motions where you sort of drag it along the bench.
Right. I feel like we're into Jamie Oliver territory now or something like that. Yep. So
Well, it just
memories of
really purees it up. It's very quick.
I see.
I don't
Yeah, just
usually do
crunches all the
Yeah, and then
all
pop that
the
in the dressing, and we're done.
dressing. It's quite a lot of garlic. Like, is that too much? Do you think? Can you see?
Yeah, I just use like half a clove or something like that. I didn't put too much in. It depends how much you like garlic. And
Got another rehearsal tomorrow, Rog. We have to be sensitive of our colleagues.
That's right.
When are you going to cook this for them? Like Friday night? You got some friends coming over?
We do have some friends coming around on Friday night.
Yep,
and
love it.
Thinking, this may have to make an appearance. I mean, it's been so long since we've been able to have people around for dinner. So I'm so looking forward to it.
I know, that's the thing. People forget it's been so long to be able to entertain, to, cook for others.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you need people in your home.
Oh, that is delicious. Oh, perfect.
You can add anything you want. I mean, I'm happy with how mine turned out.
I don't know any different, and I'm fully satisfied.
Right.
Beyond expectations.
Leave it. Now I'm just going to put a little bit on. I won't use it all. I'll just put a bit on the cucumbers.
It's about half of it or something.
Yeah, I did actually use it, but just about half.
Yep. All right. There's some questions coming in. People have posted ideas for Roger's next recipe. Beethoven's beets. I think that's meant to be beetroots. Turendots turducken. There you go.
Oh wow.
That's pretty special. All right, and sorry, I missed. I put the sauce on the cucumber. Should I just toss that sauce around with the cucumber a bit?
Toss it around.
Yep.
I've got a chili blend which I'm going to add because, as I said, it wasn't terribly hot, the pepper powder. So I'm just going to.
How are you chopping that? I can't see because of the bowl.
So I'm just chopping it on an angle, just because it looks pretty.
Okay.
And
just in big bits, right? Or
just in like It's actually just a little sliver.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Just little slivers.
Shard. Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't matter. You can chop it any way you like.
I want to do it properly, Roger. If I'm going to do this, I'm going all in.
Just leave all the seeds in. It's all fine.
Mustard. And how much? About half of that chili?
I use the third. Yeah, as much as you feel like.
Right, I love chili. And that's going in the dressing, right?
Yeah, pop that in the dressing. I've got some. We actually don't need them because there's a lot of sesame seeds in the chili oil, but I happen to have some leftover toasted sesame seeds, so I'll just pop a few in.
Okay. Oh yeah, I've got some here too.
Yeah, it's nice. It's fresh toasted sesame seeds. A really nice flavour. Yeah. And okay, I'm just going to check the prawns. See how we're going with those.
How do you know when they're done?
Well, apart from changing colour, 5 minutes seems to be about the right time. I'll take them out and have a little look.
Yep. Well, I guess I'll do the same. I don't even know what I'm looking for, but I'll take them out.
Well, I'll have a little poke around.
They're certainly not burned. They look delicious. They look pretty crispy. And they've stayed together. You're going to have to tell me how I would even know if they were. What do you just cut into one and see what happens?
I'm just sort of pulling the. Yeah, look, these are fine, and of course they're going to continue to cook. So I'm going to leave these out. They can just sit there for a second. I just pulled a bit of the shell aside and to see that it wasn't, too raw or too opaque in there. It looks all good. So
excellent.
So that's good to go. I'll just put that over here.
So we're nearly in plate up territory, aren't we? Like,
look, we are. Yeah, we've got. Yeah, actually, why don't we just while we're sort of chatting, why don't we do some slice of mango?
Oh, yeah. This is another element I'm slightly nervous about, only because. Yeah, I mean, grew up in Queensland. It's obviously second nature to you, but this could get even more messy than the cucumber for me. Although
you don't slice mango, Ben, you just rip into it.
Okay, how do you do it?
Well, look, I'm just going to cut a cheek off.
Yep.
Okay, one cheek.
Yep, got a cheek.
And I'll just get a spoon, and I'm just going to scoop it out carefully.
All right. I had a spoon around here somewhere. Where did that end up? I'll grab another one. All right. So you scoop it out.
Scoop it out. And look.
In one piece, preferably, right?
Yeah, makes it a bit easier.
Okay. I've scooped out. There's still plenty left in it, let me tell you. But anyway, I have a cheek. All right.
And now I'm just going to, well, look, we just want to dice it. So look, there's a million ways you can do that. I'm actually just going to slice it across really carefully with this knife.
Just once?
Yeah, just once, and I'll see what I've got on the bottom.
Yeah.
And then I'll just do some dice.
Yep, gotcha. Beautiful. Hey, Rog, when you got into the MSO, that was back in 99.
Yeah.
What was the audition process like? Like when you came back from UK, you'd done your time in Queensland. Like how many people went for your job and how many jobs were up and all that kind of stuff?
It was MSO was it was intense. I mean, they're tricky auditions. You've got. I've been on the other side a lot now, and you've got the panel, the entire section behind a screen, and you walk in and you walk along carpet. So they can't hear if you've got heels or thongs or anything on. You just float in, and they can't see you. And you just do the first round. You play a few excerpts, and then you go out and you wait to see if you've got to the next round. And you go, there were 3 rounds for me. There were about 33 people going. for 3 positions were available. They only gave out 1. And then the next day I had the 3rd round and had to go out and play more and more. You've got all your excerpts and your Mozart concerto and your cadenza, and you've really got to. There's a lot you've got to get through.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Whereas, and that's fairly normal nowadays when you're auditioning for an orchestra. Not all orchestras have a screen, but that's how we do it. In QPO back in 2004 or something like that, 5, when I joined that orchestra, there were 5 violinists going for the job, and there were 3 positions. So, and again, you had to play a lot, but you can see now the competitiveness now that exists. It's a lot different, much harder to get jobs, and
it's still amazing. So that was the Marcus Stentz era, right? When you joined, can you remember your first concert?
Oh gosh,
going back away now.
It actually would have been probably my music bowl concerts. It could have been.
Yeah, right. Well, I guess at first thing in the year as well. You know what? There's some more questions that have come in. Someone's put in the Battenberg Concerti. I guess that's conductor Batten, maybe. What about, how do you match music with your dishes, or do you create a dish for a piece of music? Which one comes first?
That's a really good question. And I was thinking, like, okay, for the whiskey sour, it's a sort of a prohibition kind of cocktail, and I thought, well, let's do some jazz that comes from that era. That seemed to work. And then I was thinking, French music, a French dish. And then I thought beef and bark, well, hey, whatever. And then the last one, a bit of bluegrass, a bit of Americana with a sort of a Chinese prawn dish. It made me realise that music goes with everything.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It doesn't discriminate. And so sure, I did want this dish to be a bit more up-tempo and a bit more boppy and a bit more fun. So that's why, I did this. With the Rachmaninoff, I sort of, the duck confit and all the duck fat. To me, the unctuous sort of look and feel of that went well with the Rachmaninoff.
Nothing says big tune like duck fat, does it? That's
right.
Forever changed all those Rachmaninoff massive melodies now for me.
Yeah.
So what are we doing with the mango Rog? Where do we put this?
Okay, so now let's plate up, shall we?
Yep, let's do it.
I've
got a plate here.
So I'm just going to grab a plate.
Yep. Yeah, I'm getting a window into what it was like on MasterChef now. Like the plating up time was the most stressful part, it seemed to me, of that experience. But was that true?
Look, it is. My first, one of the first, when I got to the top 50, we were in the exhibition hall, and we were there for all standing at our benches, having cooked, and then waiting to present to the judges. We were there for 5 hours.
What?
It is amazing.
5 hours.
They went through every person, and they didn't skip anything. It was impressive and exhausting.
Wow.
And and stressful. And they put us up in a hotel up in Spring Street, and I was flatting. I was sharing with the guy who had the loudest snore I've ever heard. Like earplugs, did nothing. So for a week or however long it was, I wasn't sleeping.
Oh no! What a nightmare.
But it's look, it's an amazing show, and it's still going, and I love the idea that it started all these sort of young kids sort of asking their parents, scoring, rating their parents' dishes when it came to the dinner table.
I tell you what, it has led to a great, it was happening, I suppose, anyway, but a greater interest in great quality food, hasn't it? And cooking and the culinary arts. It's wonderful development. All right, so what do we do? What goes on first?
Let's put some cucumber down the bottom.
The salad, yep.
Yep.
I'm doing this on a big plate because I'll go and grab Joanne once we're finished. And once the camera's safely off, she'll come out and have some.
Yeah, that's right. And let's get some prawns.
I'm going to use all of it.
Nestle some prawns in.
I love the terminology there. Nestle some prawns. Did you ever watch Posh Nosh? You ever seen that?
No, I haven't.
Absolutely fantastic. And it's Hugh, what's his name?
Witting store?
No. Someone S. Grant. I can't remember his name. He's an actor. Everyone will be screaming it out at home. He's fantastic, but he always uses these adjectives. Let's embarrass the peas, things like that. It's just fantastic.
It's very Nigella, isn't it, too?
Exactly. So you pop the prawns on top, right?
I just put the prawns on top, and then
wow.
I've got a little bit of actually I might chop this. We've got some rather large coriander leaves, so I might just sort of cut them down to size.
Oh, my nestling hasn't worked very well here. Oh, there we go. Safely nestled. All right. And what about that oil that's in the pan? Should that just stay in the pan, or could you put that on? Or
the oil?
Yeah.
Well, it tastes pretty good. Look, there's a lot of oil in everything. Well, not
right. So you don't want it to be too oily.
We don't really need it because there's still a lot of oil in the XO, and now I've just got a bit of coriander. It's lovely on it. Bit of coriander.
Chopped up that coriander. Did you? I missed that bit. I'm just chopping it.
I did chop it up because it was rather large.
Yeah, right. So just sprinkle that on top. Oh, this is possibly the best thing I've ever made. I've never made something that looks that nice before, I don't think. Thank you, Roger.
Oh, look, it's my pleasure. Now, look.
Incredible.
I'm just going to sprinkle some mango on the top.
The mango one.
Yeah, I love this mango on this dish. It's just wonderful, the sweetness and the juiciness.
Yeah, I can imagine that would be the kind of little icing on the cake, if you like.
What else we got? I'm going to actually put a few more sesame seeds on the top of everything because it still looks really nice.
Right.
Just a couple. And then, of course, we've got our... Here's some we did earlier.
Yes.
Wonton, deep fried wonton skins, wonton wrappers.
Yep.
Which I just
so what do you just lay them on the top?
Look, you can just, dance them around, Ben.
Dance them around.
Yeah, dance them around.
Pirouette your wonton wrappers onto the plate.
And
I love that.
These wonton wrappers just with the chili oil. Wow. Fantastic. Now, what I'm also going to do is just get a little bit of the oil left on the top of the chili oil.
Yep.
And just drizzle a bit on the wontons, just because it gives this lovely colour and
individually on each wonton, like a little stripe or something.
Yeah, I'm doing that just for fun because it's there's not a lot of flavour in the wonton.
Yeah. And you want a bit of crunch, don't you, Roger? Because
you definitely want crunch. It's like music, isn't it? You got to have a bit of everything in the mix. And I think
that is good. I'm going to hold this up for the camera just so people can see the evidence. I mean, let's look at yours to make sure. I can't even see. Yeah, there we go. Doesn't that look?
I don't know how well you can see that.
Amazing.
Yeah, well,
yours looks particularly good, I have to say. But
and then
it's a bit of a pass.
And you enjoy it.
Oh, Roger, you are an absolute gem. This has been such an incredible highlight on a big day. I mean, a massive day.
Yeah.
And I know it's been a big day for you as well, and a big thing to prepare for all of this. So thank you. Thank you.
That's a pleasure.
I've just got this. What coffee is that in your hopper from Emma Hill?
Well, actually, this is just from Carlisle Street Coffee Company. Nothing too bespoke, but it's very nice. And I sort of mix it around and
Well, Roger, this has been such a pleasure. I know we're out of time. We're going to have to wrap it up. I'll go and get Joanne once the camera's off, and we're going to hook into this. I can't wait to actually taste it. You know what? Let's eat some. Come on, let's eat some before we finish. We can't let people
open up a prawn and hope that it's.
What do you just eat it with your fingers? Do you? Yeah, right.
I'm just going to rip off a head. Rip off a head and pull off some.
There has to be a better word for that, Roger. You could, I don't know.
I reckon my prawn would have done an extra 30 seconds, but they're so fresh. Yeah.
And you just pull the meat out of the shell, right?
Just pull it out of the shell, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, sort of.
Oh,
I'm making a
that
mess.
is delicious.
You know, but you know, you can
It's so yummy. My prawns are cooked pretty well, actually. Yeah. Oh, they're so good with that exo sauce, Rog.
That's lovely.
That is delicious.
And look, it's pretty easy to do. You can, you know, of course, you can buy your exo sauce and just do it, or you can, and then, you know, if you do some different stuffings, you know, you do the old traditional garlic and parsley and butter is wonderful in these prawns.
I'm just picturing Matt Preston holding up a 10. That's all I'm seeing right now. I'm sure he would have given it a 10. Hey, Roger, you must be looking forward to getting back on stage again soon. And I'd just like to invite everybody to keep an eye out for an announcement about actual live concerts coming up in December, Melbourne Symphony Orchestra, which is we're all beyond excited about. It'll be a spiritual experience as Melbourne opens up. And my goodness, I know we're all desperate to hear some live music again. Roger, it was so wonderful to share this evening with you, to see you again today. You in tomorrow as well?
Yes, I am. I'm definitely coming in. You know, it's too much fun.
Yeah, well, we're going to be playing a bit of Tchaikovsky, so I expect a food pairing to go with the Tchaikovsky Symphony as well as we go.
Lots of melodies and beautiful things to think about in Tchaikovsky. Yeah.
Well, thanks to CVP. Thank you to the MSO Digital Production team for this very ambitious undertaking. I mean, I feel like we've peaked. This is going to be impossible to top now. I mean, where do you go from here? It's just, we're going to have to do this again.
The studio set up here that they all sent me, it's incredible.
It's incredible.
I wouldn't be able to set it up.
That's the thing. I mean, you know, we're all on a bit of an odyssey through lockdown, but every now and again you find yourself in these bizarre situations doing a cooking show in your own kitchen for an orchestra. I mean, it's just crazy, but it's perfect to hear you talk about your passion for both of those things, and you know, to see how you're able to bring them together so beautifully. I love that. So just remind everybody to check out Roger's videos on YouTube. All of the links will be there in the chat. Thank you to all of those people who sent in questions. We're really, really thrilled to be able to get to all of those. And I know it's a big week for Melbourne. You know, we've been through an awful time the last 14 weeks, and on Thursday at 11:59, it's all going to change. Roger's having his dinner parties, and I know we all can't wait to see our loved ones again. And I know we'll all be responsible and do it all safely. And the MSO are going to be working hard to bring some great music back onto the stages of Melbourne once again before the end of the year. Our season in 2022 is launched, so please do check that out as well. And it's a wonderful collection of music with our new chief conductor, Jaime Martin, who's going to be out many times next year and conducting wonderful concerts to us. So thank you all for watching. I'm Ben Northey. Go well. Cheers, Rog.